what we're going to talk about today is a quick overview of Dynamics 365, specifically for how we apply it to our nonprofit clients. And so Thomas is going to go through and show and talk about some of the capabilities of different the modules in the platform. I'll try and give a little bit more feedback and background from what we've heard from our clients. I'll introduce both ourselves in a second here. I will point out Brian Allen from Microsoft, our partner here, unfortunately is ill, so he will not be joining today. And so we hope he's bouncing back quickly. He did have a fair amount of content that he was going to present. I wouldn't do as good a job as he would, so we're going to move past that, and we'll bring him on for the next one. Do that. So with that, I think we're going to have some extra time today. So I'm sure no one will complain about that if we get done a little bit early. Certainly have some time for questions at the end. Feel free to put them in the chat. We've got a couple of our colleagues on here, and we'll try and get to those at the end. So. With that, just introductions to both of us you're hearing from today. So myself, my name is Todd Johnson. I've been working either with or for Microsoft my entire career. So I've made a career out of helping my clients get the most out of Microsoft technology, as it were. I'm based in Chicago. I have responsibility for all of FormusPro activity here in the United States. And then along with me today, I have my colleague, Thomas. And Thomas, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell them what you do.
All right. Yeah. So my name is Thomas Cunningham, and I'm the development practice lead at FormusPro. Been here for about 6 years now. My experience isn't quite as storied as Todd's is, I'm afraid. But my job is effectively to look after kind of the more technical sides of the business, typically our developers and coders and kind of the projects that they're on.
Absolutely, thank you. And so the challenge for both of us here is that I'm a geek at heart. And Thomas is a professional geek. That's why
Basically my job.
That's exactly his job. So we're going to try to not be overly geeky, as it were, today. So here's just a quick overview of what we're trying to go through today. Again, this is going to be a very high level overview of Dynamics 365. Microsoft, had this product line called Dynamics 365. There's a lot in there. So that's sort of a bigger branding. That really is a number of different capabilities and modules that you can take advantage of. We're going to try to give you a little bit of overview how each of those work, as well as how they work together. And again, try point out some specific use cases that we've seen for our nonprofit clients. And then we're happy to drill in further. So yeah, if you're looking for the deep technical dive, this isn't it. We're happy to do that. But if you're just trying to get an idea of how all these things work together and how it can work for your organization, then hopefully we can give some good information today. So quick background on our company. So I'll make the bold assumption that you may not have heard from us here in the United States. So FormusPro. Certainly, first and foremost, we are a Microsoft partner. That's all we do is help our clients, you solve their business problems with Microsoft technology, across the entire Dynamics 365 catalog, as it were. There's something called a business application solutions partner, which is a bit of a mouthful, but essentially that means that we have the Microsoft seal of approval, if you will, in terms of credibility, credentials, and our depth of experience in working with this set of products that we're very proud of. We're very much focused on nonprofits. I think we have some really good client stories. We'll touch on some of those today, but certainly happy to dive in later with more details on that. I'm a big fan of that. I always think it's really interesting how we can apply this Microsoft technology to organizations that have a bigger impact on the world, and that's something we're really good at. We just celebrated our 12th birthday a couple of weeks ago. I can't really take credit for that. I've only been here a short time, but pretty exciting milestone for the company. And hey, we're winning awards as well. So it just recently won an award there in the UK, naming us as one of the top 50 fastest growing, essentially, tech companies in that market. We're pretty excited about that as well. So today, as I sort of mentioned, so the company is headquartered in the UK. We've now expanded the U.S. and we're and operating in both countries. Look to bring some of that expertise that we've helped nonprofits with in other markets here to clients here in the U.S. So here's and I'm not going to read this, but this is This would go better with some of the slides that Brian would have presented. But yeah, essentially, we're very much powered by the Microsoft technology platform. We think it's a really valuable, flexible, and powerful set of tools. And so these are all things you're going to hear about today. Again, we'll try to keep it a high level, not go too deep in the weeds from a technology standpoint. A couple things I'll try to make sure that we touch on is how well it integrates with some of the tool sets you're already using. So most people have Excel, most people have Word, things like Outlook. These products are all designed. Guess what? They came from the same company. They've done some really tight integrations to make that work really well together. We'll touch on some of the AI functions. That's something you can't not talk about these days, and with good reason. It's very powerful. Microsoft is really at the forefront of this. Really exciting what's in the product today and going forward, and what that can do for your organization. And the nice thing is, particularly for nonprofit clients, is because of the way Microsoft builds these solutions, they're absolutely top world class in terms of reliability, security, availability. These things you care about that are really difficult to build on your own. You get to take advantage of Microsoft scale. So literally we're going to use the same building blocks, if you will, that the biggest of the big enterprises will use. It's the same technology. You get the benefit of all the R&D and experience that Microsoft puts into these large organizations, and can leverage that for systems for an organization of any size. So from here, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to hand off to Thomas, and Thomas, I'll let you dive in and start take us through what the different modules look like.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to start talking about kind of some of the components that make up the Power Platform. So in the top left, we have Dynamics 365. This connects data kind of across the company, supports any business function, and provides the intelligence needed to engage customers and optimize operations. So then Dynamics is further supported by the Power Platform, which we've got on the bottom left. This is like a unified platform of no low-code tools that anyone can make use of to analyze their business data, automate tedious processes, and create AI-powered agents that can interact with customers or staff. And then all of this is closely integrated with MS 365. So this is all of the tools and software from Microsoft most businesses are already familiar with. Like Todd's already said about Excel. I think there's very few businesses out there that doesn't use Excel. So this means that all of your records and documents are already present in an accessible but secure way as part of the platform. And these are made easy to collaborate on with Dynamics, Teams, or Outlook. Then finally, on the bottom right, we have our insights and analytics capabilities. These tools let you derive powerful AI-assisted insights from your data that your organization is generating every single day. And then all of this can also use Copilot. So this is Microsoft's flagship generative AI product. And this can assist you using natural language in nearly any context. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at some of these capabilities in a bit more detail. So first up, we're starting with Dynamics CE Sales. So one of the core Dynamics products that makes up the Dynamics 365 platform. So this started life as a customer relationship management system. Whilst that's kind of still its functionality at its core, it now offers a much broader set of functionalities than just selling products. So Dynamics Sales lets you keep in touch with your customers, your donors, your stakeholders, and make sure they stay engaged with your organization. At its core, Dynamics Sales has an opportunity to a lead to opportunity to sale process where you can guide incoming interest in your products and services through to a successful conversion. For existing customers and donors, you've got rich information that you can use to ensure that you're keeping up to date with their interests and needs. And then finally, if you're an organization that sells products or services, Dynamics Sales also has comprehensive price lists, ordering, invoicing functionality, so you can make sure so you can manage and optimize the entirety of the sales process.
Yeah, and a lot of our clients, they tell us they translate that sales module to fundraising engagement as sort of the primary focus, as you might expect. Yeah, there's a couple things here that we think are pretty powerful and pretty useful in that context. Certainly allows you to have a 360 view of all your funding sources. So it's really important. So you track all the interaction with where you're getting that very important funding. So you've got that complete historical record over time of every interaction that you've had with an individual, with an organization. It lets you do some things some automated things that are pretty powerful. So things like automated workflows around, it can be as simple as, someone made a donation that they automatically get an email that says, hey, thank you, and recognizing that, that gift. Things like, yeah, hey, it's tax season. Certainly everyone wants to make sure that they're getting all the credit that they can for where they made those donations. So being able to generate those kind of things automatically as the kind of things that you can come from this module. You can do things like what's called a best next action. And so depending on sort of where you're at in the journey in a particular campaign, or with a particular potential donor or potential donor, the system can learn, and also you can create your own workflows in terms of, okay, we've gotten to this point with them. The need to someone needs to reach out to them directly, phone call, email, what is in fact the absolute best next thing we could do to keep that process moving forward. Certainly, it's very easy to tie into your events campaign. So you're doing an annual fundraising campaign. You can set up a structure to track and consolidate all your and be able to report on all your activity around that. And again, with some automation so that you can keep your arms around that whole process. And then there's some really powerful potential features around keeping an eye on the data. So things like, have a donor that normally makes this typical donation. They've done something even more wonderful. You'd want to know that, right? So things like that are more, exceptions can get flagged, as well as have some, predictability about, what may be coming. And so it's by having all this interaction captured in this system, it gives you some additional capability around being able to do more data analysis and, find some things that are good indicators as to key things that you want to be tracking that can be very difficult to track otherwise. So lots to talk about on sales. Next, I think we're going to jump into the customer service module.
Yeah. So customer service is another kind of really core Dynamics product, and a key function of many organizations that work directly with the public. So it allows these organizations to provide efficient and high quality customer service delivery to their customers or members by equipping their agents with all the tools they need to provide it. So I'm going to talk through kind of some of the key features it offers to achieve this. So I think first and foremost, kind of the most important thing, it has really effective case management. So this means that customer service cases can be easily created, viewed, reported on, and then navigated through the case lifecycle. This includes effective routing of issues. So depending on the subjects of the case or other factors, it can ensure that the right issue is routed to the right agent. It also has built-in service level agreement functionality. So this allows organizations to set and report on and ultimately meet the SLAs they provide. Cases that are at risk of not meeting SLAs can be flagged ahead of time to ensure that they're actioned appropriately. And as part of this, there's functionality for automated escalation. So if conditions are met on a case, which means it needs review by a more senior agent, this can be actioned without agent intervention. And to support all agents in being informed and knowledgeable about their key subject matter, it also incorporates knowledge-based functionality. So this acts as a repository of information about the subject matter that the agents are providing services for, with tools for quickly finding information relevant to the case. And then finally, a really powerful piece of functionality, I think, is the self-service options it comes with as well. So the contents of a knowledge base can be marked as externally available via a portal, so customers can potentially help themselves before even needing to contact an agent.
Yeah, there's a lot of functionality here that we've just skimmed over, but yeah, some things that we've seen our clients being able to to leverage that I think are interesting. Yeah, certainly the case management piece, very powerful. There's a lot of different sort of applicability scenarios to that. Certainly around event management. So you've got some sort of fundraising event or an outreach event. making sure you're tracking, things like registration, particularly on the volunteer side. We hear a lot that volunteer management can be a lot of headache. And so, volunteers, being able to, reach out to them, get their registration, make sure that, that they have all the information that they need. And it's really good way to be able to publish information, out to, these kind of constituents as well. And then yeah, the self-service really powerful, and there's some pretty interesting things around there. And again, everyone's running with small staff. Being able to allow your constituents to easily get answers to the questions that they need. Where do I need to be? When? What are the requirements? Things like that. Particularly for volunteers or an event. If there's an ability, it gives you the ability to make that readily available, so that your team is not you can focus on more high value tasks, if you will, as opposed to, no, you need to be at this place at 10 o'clock. You can push that information out there and make that readily accessible and make that a little bit easier on everybody. So lots to talk about in there. Next, we're going to jump into customer insights, which is really all about marketing.
Yeah, so customer insights started off as kind of the marketing module for Dynamics 365, but has since developed into much more. So now it provides comprehensive insights and feedback about your customers via multiple channels, in addition to powerful tools to reach out to them in a targeted and personal way. Some of these kind of key features that allows you to do this include kind of really impactful email campaign management. So all the marketing tools that you'd expect in a first-class marketing product are available to ensure that your email campaigns are effective. Templates for customer journeys, so to ensure that you can create custom journeys efficiently. New journeys can be built from pre-existing templates, allowing you to reuse effective pathways for customers. There's a powerful kind of bespoke email editor. So, this is kind of a really essential thing for doing an email campaign. You need your emails to look good in the first place. So when designing emails for campaigns and communication, a really powerful built-in editor can be used to create rich and aesthetically engaging content. There's also social media management as well. So you can track and report on how your organization is being discussed on social media. You can use that to tailor your communication to respond to it as needed. And you can factor in kind of a wealth of different event sources relating to your customers for your customer journeys. So I think one thing that's really cool is that you could even use things as granular as a customer kind of connecting to your Wi-Fi when they visit. And you can use this to ensure that, the communication that you have with them is really personal and meaningful. And finally, all of this data can be combined and acted on in real time to ensure that your messaging to your customers is always richly informed and relevant.
Yeah, certainly, everybody's in marketing, in these kind of organizations, and it's a key function. And, this is a very powerful marketing tool. A few things to point out here is, certainly the automation is pretty valuable. And that can let you do a couple things. So things like you sort of see on the screenshot on the screen here is that you can actually have different messaging for different groups, or you can actually try different messaging and see what actually is getting a better reaction. So you can be able to do things by get detail on, okay, did they actually receive the email? Did they open the email? Did they go to the website? And did they do everything except push the donate now button, right? And so you have that kind of information. That's valuable, and so you'd follow up differently with those kind of interactions, as opposed to someone that, okay, they didn't look at the first email. All right, maybe we didn't need a different subject line to get their attention, and see and see how that does, right? So there's some really powerful options in there. You can even do things where, and again, without trying to get too deep and geeky here, because this is part tied to these other modules. You can do things based on that donor or that contact differently. So you may have donors that have donated in the past, and that they have a company match option, and you've gotten that company match option from the past. you might want to remind them of that. And, it's easy to forget and all that. And then so you might have slightly different messaging for them to say, hey, don't forget to go, reach out to the home office and yeah, and you can actually increase the impact of your donation. Very powerful stuff, very easy to automate, with this tool. The other thing I mentioned here too is that again, this idea of enriching your data. So if you want to broaden your target audience, and so there's ways to go get additional contact information, and you can basically enhance the data you already have to expand who you might be targeting from a marketing standpoint, and let you tune that message in as well as get that feedback real time on what's working, what's not. And gives you more tools to basically advance your message and hopefully enhance your impact. So a lot of capability in there. And then when that all works well, then hey, guess what? We have some accounting things that we have to worry about as well. So I think we're going to talk about accounting next.
Yeah. So next thing I'm going to talk about is Dynamics Business Central. So yeah, Dynamics Business Central is a really powerful finance, ERP, sales, service, and operations system just all in one. So Business Central is it's kind of really kind of all encompassing in terms of what it can do for an organization. It can really sit at the core and ensure that all of your business processes operate cohesively and efficiently. So we could easily spend a whole webinar discussing kind of even at a high level what Business Central does, but I'm just going to kind of touch on some of the highlights that I think are relevant here. So first and foremost, like Todd said about, finance, the finance side of it, like the BC Finance module is highly scalable. And this means that like nearly regardless of the turnover of your organization, BC is able to meet those needs. BC can also support multiple companies and multiple locations in one setup. So this means that if you're an international organization that has to handle differing taxes and data laws, all of this can be classified based on location and ultimately fed into the parent organization. And finally, and this is true for kind of most of the technologies we're talking about, but Business Central also has really comprehensive integration with the rest of D365. So this means it can make sure that no data in your organization is siloed. You can have your CRM and your marketing system, and you can integrate those same customers that you use for your invoicing.
Yeah, so it's admittedly it might be a little tough to get excited about an accounting package, but this is pretty good. And what I mean by that is it's a very approachable accounting package, and so some accounting packages are they're really intimidating. The user experience is a little difficult. That's absolutely not the case with Business Central. And it makes it a little bit easier to have clear accounting. There's a couple things in here that we've seen have been particularly valuable. Things like grant management. So you have to actually, if you've gotten a directed donation towards a specific initiative, for instance, it can be really important to track all your transactions tied to that initiative. So this tool gives you the ability to set that up and capture that information that you need. Certainly, if you're doing a particular event and you want to, you've got a budget for that event and you want to be able to track, all your transactions, all your costs for a particular, event, you can easily structure it and organize it down to, to that level. The warehouse management piece, which is something that's sometimes a little bit of surprise, because a lot of clients don't think of themselves this way, but there's certainly scenarios where if you're dealing with physical goods, this can be valuable. So that can be something as simple as you've got a gift and you have or multiple gifts depending on a donor level. And maybe something as simple as hey, you get a T-shirt for for the 5K. Do I have XL T-shirts in stock, or do I need to order more? System gives you the ability to do that. You can go way beyond that, and but essentially, if you're managing any sort of physical goods as part of your operation, that's built in the tool here as well. And then the one that Tom's touched on is as well, that I think is very powerful because it's difficult to do with some other accounting systems. Um, it's not unusual to have an organization at a local regional level that's part of a bigger, sometimes national organization. You want to keep your books at that local level, but you still need to have everything roll up, to the parent organization so that you've got consolidated accounting for that. It's built in the tool set. It's very much designed around being able to manage those different organizations and to be able to roll up those books to a master, set of accounting as well. So a lot of things in here. And the other thing that, and again, I apologize that Microsoft's not on the call today, but Microsoft actually invested and has created some pretty interesting add-ons to Dynamics specific for nonprofits. And so these are not actually separate products per se, but rather things that in addition to some of the modules we already talked about. And so, Thomas, I'll let you jump into some of those capabilities. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the first one we're going to talk about is the NFP accelerator that Microsoft provides. So Microsoft kind of have produced this as kind of like a quick start to help NFPs start making use of the Power Platform. So what it is a collection of Power Apps developed by Microsoft with not-for-profits in mind, to help them understand how the Power Platform can start benefiting their organization, just straight from the off. And whilst the accelerator isn't kind of a full solution in itself, it acts as a great base for building more specialized solutions, and it's often where we might even ourselves kind of start building a new system for a not-for-profit client. So just to touch on a few of the kind of key features that it has out of the box. Microsoft have this thing that they call the the common data model for NFPs. So it includes that and it expands on it. So what this is a kind of a data schema. It's a way of storing data that's tailored specifically to not-for-profits. And the purpose of kind of including this is they want to try and get rid of data silos and make it so you can get kind of useful insights from the data that you're storing there. It contains a kind of a collection of Power Apps, and those provide some functionality and automation across a number of kind of key areas that most not-for-profits have to deal with. So that includes kind of awards tracking, case management, constituent marketing as well, and delivery frameworks. So kind of all the kind of key areas you'd expect. And it's also extendable out of the box as well. So it's important that not-for-profits get to see how kind of flexible the Power Platform is, because that's one of its key features, and how easy it can be tailored to a particular organization. And finally, kind of to help demonstrate this, it also includes some sample dashboards and data, so you can see and kind of contextualize the functionality as soon as you download it.
Yeah, the thing we really like about this, our clients really liked about this, one is that there's no additional cost to this, right? And so again, this is some specific configuration customization on top of the Dynamics modules that we've talked about for nonprofit use cases. A lot. There's a deeper dive around marketing that I think is pretty interesting. And so essentially, Microsoft gives us a head start. And so it's partners like ourselves, like FormusPro, that we know this we know this technology set very well. This is one of the things that in our tool set that we bring to our clients to help basically get you to a solution faster, and we get to take advantage of Microsoft making some additional investment in this space. So. And then next up, there's another specific things around fundraising that we think are pretty interesting that we want to share with you as well.
Yeah, so next up we've got fundraising and engagement, and unlike kind of the accelerator, this is a full module intended for Dynamics 365 sales. So it's effectively a relation management platform targeted at not-for-profits to kind of modernize constituent engagement and by extension kind of allow you to increase the impact of your mission. So it does this by giving you kind of powerful perspectives on your donors and supporters, and ensure that you manage your relationship with them and make the most of their engagement with your organization. So it's packed full of functionality to kind of enable this, but again, some of the key bits that we're going to highlight here is firstly household views. So I think this is a really cool feature. So it gives you the ability to kind of link together your donors and supporters within the context of their household, where they'll often share kind of share similar attitudes and might share your same mission, so you can kind of target them grouply. There's fundraising campaigns, which is functionality to track your appeals, your packages, events, and then compare them to the results that they bring. There's kind of comprehensive gift tracking as well, so allowing you to manage your incoming gifts, commitments from donors, payments, and receipts as well. And finally, it lets you manage your volunteers too. So you can publish engagement opportunities. You can track the volunteers as perhaps they apply. You can use to communicate with them and kind of also approve them.
Yeah, and so these are, as you can see, we're getting more specific nonprofit use cases that we think are very common, and basically give you a head start on how you manage all these things. One of the things I think is interesting too is donor insights. It can be pretty powerful as well. So you can actually do some reporting, some deep dive things like hey, my friend James usually makes a big donation this time of the year. We haven't seen that. Maybe we want to reach out to him, right? Things like that, or in fact, somehow James, he gave 10x what he gave last year. Okay, that should, that's something that's probably noteworthy. We want to, initially make sure we give all donors, the right recognition and thanks that they get for supporting our organizations, right? So, yeah. So again, and I know I'll keep trying to go back to this, but while these are all sort of separate modules, the underlying data set is the same. Yeah. And so what that means is that if we did something here, through a specific fundraising campaign, that's now part of your your data estate as it will. If we go back in the sales module, a year from now, you'd have visibility and you have all that history because we have all that data all linked together because it's all all part of the same platform. So speaking of platform, we got one more technical deep. Well, we'll try not to go too deep dive here, but Power Platform is an important set of tools that we should chat about.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so the Power Platform is kind of tools and technology that underpins a lot of actually these solutions that we've already talked about. So we kind of see them as the tools in our repertoire that allows us to build any solution to suit any organization, no matter how kind of personal or specialized it needs to be. So all of them are kind of low or no code first, meaning that they're accessible without needing to know programming languages, and easy to maintain in the future without having kind of expert developers on hand. So to start with, Power BI. So Power BI is the primary tool for uncovering insights into organizational data in the Power Platform. So it's accessible and it's easy to build rich reports using expressions and formula familiar to anyone who's used Excel before. We've then got Power Apps. So these are a flexible way of developing applications for businesses that can be developed to service numerous use cases. So they come in kind of two forms. So within Power Apps, you've got Canvas apps and you've got model-driven apps. Canvas apps are kind of UI focused, so they're very visual. They can give you kind of rich visual feedback and interactivity. And these are really kind of multi-platform, so they can run across phones, tablets, web browsers, and they can make use of the features that are on those platforms. So if you're on a phone and you go out of signal, they can just run offline on the phone. They can use the camera on it, things like that. But they also kind of they got all the tools to tailor it to being on different platforms. So if the same person views the app in a web browser, you can make it so the web browser handles that functionality differently. Model-driven apps are similar, but they're focused on the data rather than the visuals. These are actually kind of what underpins a lot of the dynamic solutions. So a lot of kind of the modules and things you'll see will include model-driven apps. Power Automate then is kind of a cloud-first automation platform that helps streamline and remove tedious and repetitive processes. So this can include kind of flows and steps that run on, say, time triggers or events in your organization. There's pretty much anything that you'd want to trigger on you can think of. And they can also, so they're cloud first, but they can also cross from the cloud and interact with even your desktop on your computer, or if you've got on-premises systems, so if you're not in the cloud for everything yet, they can also interact with those too. So this could be, examples of how you might use this might be, automating Teams messages. That's something that we do quite a lot internally, or kind of acting as an approval process. So you can have it so perhaps when you get an email asking to, a request for something, you can send out kind of an approval kind of query and response and have someone tick yes or no and capture other information. They're very kind of very flexible. After that, we've got Power Virtual Agents. So these are, these are similar to kind of chatbots that you get on some websites, but I think a lot of people dread these. But Power Virtual Agents are much better than what you typically see. So instead of kind of just predetermined questions and responses, you can train them so they can respond to variations using kind of AI assistance. They're much more kind of natural to communicate with and can also be kind of set up to easily hand over to a person if need be. So if there's a query that, I'm sure we've all seen this scenario, if there's a query where it can't respond or it doesn't know what to say, or if it's something that requires, actual human intervention, it's very easy for it to hand it over. Or you can have it kind of trigger some sort of like service in the background. So that way you can, make aspects of your organization kind of self-serve from the virtual agent. And then finally, we've got Power Pages. So Power Pages is, it's kind of very exciting. It's so basically it's a new way of building kind of secure and professional and also stylish looking business websites with no or limited website development experience. So, I think most people assume that, if you're going to put a website together, you need to have someone on board, or you need to go out to someone who knows how to build websites, and it's quite, it's quite specialist knowledge. It's not the case if you use Power Pages. It makes it really straightforward, and they're engaging to use and they're responsive, so they kind of work across all devices. So again, if you're looking at it on your laptop, the page looks different to if you're looking at it on your phone, so it fits the screen better. And I think kind of best of all, they also kind of hook into your business data as well elsewhere in the Power Platform. So if you want to surface things like information about maybe your offices or your products or anything else that you can think of, there's kind of really kind of granular controls over how that appears to people. Perhaps appears to anyone who anonymously visits your website, or if they log in, and you can even have them interact with it. So you can imagine the kind of possibilities that unlocks.
Yeah, I typically describe this as it's sort of a Swiss Army knife, and I think you get an idea of how much we like this tool set just because it is so powerful. So we found it's really good. If you need something quick for something temporary, so you're doing a one-time event. Sounds mentioned the Power Pages. So I want to get a website out there to register volunteers or whatever. Very easy to do that. And again, I'm capturing all that information in my systems as I do that. The virtual agent, I think this is actually very cool because it's actually surprisingly easy to put one of these together. And again, it's a better, we think a better experience typically for your constituents. Makes it easy to, to gather information, to push out information in a way that frankly people are kind of expecting at this point, just because they see this kind of thing elsewhere. But yeah, this set of tools, it also can do things that if you can actually create some automation between things you already have. So what I mean by that is you may have some of those existing systems that I need to copy and paste, this information from this other system into here. A lot of manual effort. It can be, anytime you have manual effort, that can create errors. You can actually automate that, right? So some things that are kind of time-consuming tasks that are prone to creating errors in your data. You can actually simplify and create these little widgets and these small apps that piece all those things together. So a lot in there, and I'll keep an eye on time here, keep moving here. One thing we've sort of alluded to, we haven't talked much about it because it's a topic in itself. So Copilot. Copilot, I'm sure most folks have heard about, at least in some form or fashion. Copilot is the sort of halo branding Microsoft is using for all of their generative AI tools. One thing that's really exciting and impressive, and we didn't really touch on it here today, is that it's being built into everything. So all these different modules that we've talked about, there is a Copilot component either in the product today or on the roadmap very quickly, and it's things that and essentially make they make you more productive. And so it's something that I'm personally using more and more every day. About once a day, I have sort of what I call a jaw-dropping moment where it does something that's like, okay, wow, that was impressive. So anyway, a little bit of a lead into a future webinar. I think we'll get the registration links out relatively soon on this, but end of April, we'll do a deep dive specifically on Copilot and how nonprofits can make the most use of it. So, all right, quick summary there, and hey, I promised we'd get done on time, and we're cutting it close here. But yeah, one thing I want to make sure that people understood is that we've given you an overview of these different modules. The nice thing is you can kind of pick and choose and start anywhere, right? So if it's a particular pain point or a particular thing that you're trying to solve, we can go after that first. It's not like you have to move everything in your operations over to this right away. It's because of the structure. Think of it like Lego blocks. We can go find something where we can have the most impact. Start there and then start to build around that. Again, can't emphasize enough how important it is that it's integrated with the tool set you already use today, like Excel, Word, Teams, etc. And of course, all the sort of enterprise grade capabilities you get from the virtue that this is the product set that Microsoft is building for their larger client base. So we're big fans of technology. We have this deep expertise about how to utilize that best with not-for-profits. That's what we do. So I think we have a few minutes left, and I know the chat window has been pinging here. I have not been trying to follow here as well. So.
Can we share some of the names of our US nonprofit clients? So I mentioned CDP and Anthony Nolan in the chat. A lot of our clients are either UK based or international. CDP and Anthony Nolan obviously operate quite a lot in the US. Todd, I don't know if you or Thomas, you want to expand a bit more there?
Yeah, and again, you can go look to our website. You can see some good examples of other ones that we work with. Happy to have a one-on-one discussion and understand the organization. And I'm sure we have some examples of clients we worked with in the past that might be interesting or applicable. So.
I think sorry, I was just going to elaborate a bit. I think CDP is probably the best example that we've got. They're headquartered in the US.
Now, there was a specific question. Is sales a module part of Dynamics 365? Does it come with it? Does a company pay for each module separately?
Yeah, and here's where I don't claim to be explaining Microsoft licensing in 30 seconds or less is challenging. So Dynamics 365 is the branding for a number of these different products. And there's licensing associated with each different module, or essentially if there's licensing associated with essentially getting the entire package. There are heavily subsidized, discounted licensing available for nonprofits. So for that, I'll defer a bit on the exact pricing on it, just because it is a little bit of it depends kind of a question. Although I can tell you that Microsoft, for most organizations, makes it very, very affordable. The team we're working with, the technology for social impact team, they very much want to enable these types of organizations with their technology, so they make it pretty accessible.
How can you address the ways in which Microsoft differentiates itself in the market?
Yeah, well, I guess on a couple fronts there, right? I mean, so certainly, I guess if the question is from a technical perspective, that's kind of thing that's on its own. But and one of the things that I'm always surprised about is that Microsoft isn't necessarily as well known for their solutions in this space. So there's everybody knows Windows, everybody knows Office. Microsoft has been in this business application space for 20, 30 years. They're actually one of the leading vendors in this. So you hear other company names like Salesforce, for instance, or NetSuite or an SAP. Microsoft has products that are very competitive, in that space as well, very successful in that space. It's just you don't hear as much about them. In terms of differentiating for nonprofits itself. And again, I'm sorry Brian wasn't able to join us today because he's got some awesome detail on where Microsoft is investing. They very much do want to make a difference in that space, but I'll leave it to Microsoft for next time to give a more in-depth view of what they're doing to address those needs.
There's a slightly technical question in the chat, so it's probably more Thomas. How easy is it to migrate from Dynamics NavVision to Dynamics BC?
There's kind of an established path for doing upgrades from it, and I would say that it's certainly never too big of a challenge, and I think in most cases is quite easy to do. I'm only kind of a little reticent to kind of just tell you it's easy because it really varies on use cases. We've seen people with NavVision setups that've got lots and lots of kind of like custom extensions built into it, and not all of them translate to Business Central. But in the vast majority of cases, there's easy ways of overcoming that, and you can make the upgrade process really kind of slick. So always kind of worth considering.
And
that's something we do all the time. Unfortunately, the consulting answer is it depends. But essentially, if it's not a highly customized solution, then it's pretty straightforward. And we've got tools, and Microsoft they try to make that as easy as possible for us. So.
What does not a full solution mean when referring to the NFP accelerator?
The other kind of modules that we've discussed, they're kind of meant as sort of whole products, whereas the NFP accelerator, it's kind of more of a taster of what the Power Platform can do for not-for-profits. It kind of sets things out a little more kind of basically than you might expect with kind of the full modules. The idea is that it kind of gives you the very basics to get going with, and then you build on top of it to kind of add in the actual functionality that you need. So it's effectively just cut back. It's there, as I said, it's there as a taster rather than a full product in its own right.
Yeah, and the good news there is that there's no additional licensing for it. It's something that Microsoft publishes to help partners like us help our clients basically get the solutions faster. But a little bit different from you're not going to go buy that as and because the nature of it requires a little bit of configuration, customization. So it's not simply I click install and there we go. It does require a little more technical expertise than that, and so that's why they publish it that way, because they know that they're anybody interested in that is going to need a little bit of help and assistance to implement that, and that's what we do.
Does award tracking mean tracking grants that we award?
Yes, it does.
An easy one.
Nice answer.
Could you provide a few examples of apps your non-profit clients have created using Power Apps?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have lots of examples of these technically, because all of the Dynamics system, or at least all of the Dynamics customer engagement systems, which sales, customer service, and a few others kind of fall under all of Power Apps. They're all model-driven apps. But we've got a really good example of a Canvas app actually that I was only speaking about earlier today. So I can't go into specifics too much, but it's a charity that basically they kind of do an assessment of areas before they kind of carry out their service, and when they do that, it's quite technical, and it requires like a calculation of a score, and they sometimes have to do this in areas where there isn't good mobile signal. So what this app does is it lets them do it either on a phone or a tablet, and then it kind of gives them this report at the end with the score, and they can do this all offline. But then when they get back to an area where they have signal, all of that data then can be uploaded to a central repository.
What modules and features come free as part of the non-profit grants program?
Yeah, again, I defer to Microsoft, and essentially, it depends. But my understanding is that for the right situation, they're going to find a way to make it work. Microsoft very much wants these tools in the hands of everybody, and so yeah, I defer to Brian at Microsoft for specifics, but yeah, there's definitely something interesting there. So apologize, don't have exact examples, exact details. We can follow up.
If anybody else has any other questions?
Excellent. Well, yeah, I promised that from the beginning. So yeah, we do like to deliver on time. If at all possible. So yeah, absolutely. Appreciate everyone's time. Hopefully you found this valuable. We covered a lot of territory here, and so hopefully it's not too overwhelming. But if there's a particular use case or scenario that you're dealing with your organization that you're struggling with, you think there might be some digital technology that can help solve that, that's what we're here to do, and help. So feel free to reach out. My emails are on the screen, or you reach out via our website, and we'd love to chat more and see if there's a way we can work together. So appreciate your time, and everyone have a good day. Thank you.